Start recording.
Yes. Good
Okay.
morning, everyone. Welcome to our program this morning. Um, Nanette Mackenroth, she's a Primal health coach and a faster weight coach, and she's going to talk to you about how to kick your sugar addiction in 6 steps without giving up all your favorite treats. So enjoy the show, and you are welcome to ask any questions.
Thank you, Naomi. Yeah, it is. It really one of those things. It's six easy steps, but not simple, right? Or it's the other way around. Simple steps, but not easy. So I'll share them with you, and please ask all the questions that you have. We can do a Q&A at the end, but don't hesitate to interrupt if you have questions like on a particular slide that we're looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And so we can get started. This will be about probably about 30 minutes, so it's not too long. And I know many people will probably be watching the recording. So how to kick your sugar addiction in 6 days. As Naomi said, I am Nanette. I'm a family health coach, and my mission is to help families reclaim their health. And one of the most important things, of course, nutrition is going to be the biggest piece of your health, right? If you can't like out exercise a bad diet. You can't. You have to have the right nutrition, and getting off of sugar is paramount for sure. So let's start kind of with basics, like what is sugar? Because some people, a lot of sugars are hidden and named differently, and you don't even really know what it is. So the sugar, basically, as you know, sweet tasting, soluble carbohydrates. Artificial is no different. And I know that marketing is gonna, people that are marketing their diet sodas and their diet treats are going to tell you that they're different, and they are not different. We'll talk about some options later on. Both of them are highly addictive. So don't be hard on yourself if you are addicted to sugar. We've all been there. Um, Many of us are there now, but it's not your fault. It's not because you lack willpower. It's not because you're weak. So don't do that to yourself. No shame, no guilt. We are just going to take some steps to get out of the situation. Why? Why are you here? Why do you want to quit sugar? That's an important thing for you to zero in on, so that it helps you when the going might get a little bit tough. And I'm going to give you some reasons why as well. So one of the biggest reasons is because it trashes your gut. You hear a lot these days about your gut microbiome, and it's going to be very unbalanced if you're consuming a lot of sugar. You have good bacteria and bad bacteria in your gut, and the sugar feeds the bad bacteria. So if you're feeding that bad bacteria a lot of sugar, it's going to become unbalanced, and then your bad. Think of them like little armies. The bad army is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and take over on the little army. So you don't want to feed those good sugars. You don't want to feed those bad bacteria. You want to feed the good ones. It causes bloating. It leads to food intolerances, with the biggest ones being gluten, dairy, eggs, soy, corn, and peanuts. Probably everyone knows somebody, or maybe themselves, that have these intolerances, and the unbalanced gut is what leads to that. As Hippocrates said, I think over 2,000 years ago, all disease begins in the gut, and this just rings true today. Another reason why you should quit sugar is because it can lead to fat gain. Sugar does not trigger satiety signals. So you're hungry and you go eat something sweet. Your body's going to burn that very, very quickly, and you're going to be hungry again. So you're kind of going to get into a cycle because your body doesn't know that it's been fed, because it's looking for nutrients. It's not just looking for volume or for substance. It causes cravings. Again, meaning something's out of balance. Your blood sugar is out of balance. Your hormones are out of balance, which is going to happen if you overconsume sugar. And the more you eat, the more you want. It causes loss of minerals, which leads to muscle loss. It doesn't really cause loss of minerals, but it causes your body not to be able to utilize those minerals. And then that's not good for your muscles. And you need, as we age, we lose muscle mass anyway, so we don't want to lose any more than we have to. I did talk about fat loss versus weight loss because I think it's important, or fat gain versus weight gain, because I think it's important to know that the scale really is a big fat liar. So don't count on the scale. And if you're one of the people who likes to weigh themselves every day, try to break yourself of that habit, because when you get off of sugar, your body composition is gonna change. So you may be able to build muscle better and you might lose fat, but you may not lose weight. So don't let that be your measure. I would use measuring tape. Measure your body, your arms like right around your bicep, your waist right where it creases when you bend over, your hips, your thighs, and that way you know how your body is changing versus, because, oh my gosh, I'm not losing weight, I haven't lost any weight, and I hear that all the time. But you must stop doing that and just measure yourself. Take pictures. That's another easy way as well. Sugar is inflammatory. Look at all of this: depression, arthritis, diabetes, heart disease, cancer. These are all inflammatory conditions, diseases. ADD can be damaging to the liver, as damaging to the liver as alcohol. You've heard of fatty liver. That's where sometimes that can come from. High fructose corn syrup inhibits vitamin D from converting into its active form. A couple of statistics for you. 70%, I think the last statistic I saw, 70% of Americans are vitamin D deficient. And then if you look at COVID, 90% of people that have a very bad time getting over the COVID are vitamin D deficient. So you don't want to be vitamin D deficient. I even recommend to many of my clients to supplement. If you're not getting out in the sun, luckily I live in an area where we have sun. It's a very sunny day today. But if you can't get out in it and expose your body to it, I would supplement. I think that is very good advice. Of course, check with your doctor, but consider that. But you do not want to be doing things that inhibit whatever vitamin D you are getting into your body. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Melissa Hartwig is the woman who started Whole30. I don't know if you've ever heard of that or not, but it's a diet that helps people get their body reset. What is at the root of lifestyle-related diseases and conditions like heart disease and stroke? Take one guess. It's systemic inflammation. And what about this one for the ladies? It compromises your beauty. It ages your skin, breaks down collagen and elastin, exacerbates skin issues such as acne, rosacea, and eczema. So these are all the things that eating a lot of sugar. Some sugar is okay. So I'm not telling you got to completely get off of it, but this is going to help you control it and choose to eat it when you want to, not because you feel compelled to. According to Statista, the average American woman spends $500 to $800 per year on skincare, only to undo it by over-consuming on sugar. So that
Nanette,
one. Yes.
This is very interesting because I never thought about this, that sugar can influence aging and skin appearance.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought about it that way.
Well, now you will. Now maybe you'll have that in the back of your head when you're reaching.
Yes.
So before we get into the steps, you need to set yourself up to win, right? Because it's important that you're set up for success so that you come out of this on the other side with, feeling good about yourself. Mindset. Where's your mindset? And I hear people say all the time, oh, I could never give up sugar. Well, you're right. The old Henry Ford saying, whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right. So you got to put it out there. Of course you can, and you can. Of course you can. I used to be terribly addicted to sugar. I could go through a bag of candy like nobody's business. And now I choose when and how I do it. And that's really what this is all about, right? Control. So of course you can do it. Make sure that your mindset is right there. Know your why. Why is it important to you? Is it because you want to live a long time and be able to play with your kids and your grandkids? Is it because you don't want to compromise your beauty? Whatever it is that's important to you, keep that in mind. Visualize and clarify yourself. Visualize yourself getting on the other side of this. You can do it, and you can do it more quickly than you may think. It's not something that's going to take you months and months to do. So trust me on that you can do it. Keep a food journal or an app tracker. We'll talk a little bit about that later on in the presentation as well. And then listen to your body. When I eat candy now, like if I were to eat a Snickers bar right now, I'm telling you, my body would, I would get very jittery. My heart would start racing, and I can tell you that when I eat that kind of stuff. I had my niece's birthday cake, And one, it kept me up all night because it was chocolate, but I was ill. I felt like I had a hangover the next day, and I didn't even get to have any fun to doing that. It was from eating chocolate cake, not the kind of cake that I would make at my house. So I'm going to tell you swaps that you can make to make them a little bit better for you. So listen to your body. How many times have you heard somebody say, "Oh, I'm going to pay for this tomorrow"? That's listening to your body, but not really doing anything about it. Try to listen and obey what is good for your body. Okay, here we go. 6 steps to take back control. My number 1 tip for controlling cravings, and this is the one that's a little more difficult to wrap your head around, but I'm going to go through it in detail. But it is to balance your macros. And not everybody understands what that means, but if you balance your macros are your fats, your proteins, and your carbohydrates. And okay, so how do I balance? Like how many do I need versus how many does my husband need versus how many my kids need? Everybody's going to be different. You can go to calculator.net. And this is just going to be kind of like it's not going to be exactly for you. Sometimes, working with a coach can help you really dial in where you are. But if you go into calculator.net and search, because there's lots of different calculators in there, search for macros. A macros calculator, and then you'll go in and you'll put your age, your weight, your height, your activity level, and it will shoot you out what it thinks that you need to balance your macros. Typically, when I'm working with people, I start them off at 40, 45, 25, 30. That's 45% of their calories are from carbs, 25% from protein, and 30% from fat. So that's kind of a good starting place. And then, of course, you're going to change. And as your body composition changes and as your activity level changes or anything like that, it's going to change. So you have to, kind of play with it. Nobody's ever static on this. But anyway, this is a good place to start. Just kind of getting your balance. Most Americans are way, way, way too high on carbohydrates. And that is a lot of our problem. Carbs burn first for energy. So prioritize when you're choosing your carbs, complex sources, such as sweet potatoes, wild rice, that kind of thing. Carbs does not mean pasta. I mean, it can mean, but just be careful. It doesn't mean packaged food and processed food. So you want to be careful what kind of carbs you're putting into your body. And excess carbs that that your body cannot burn are stored in the liver. Again, that's kind of where fatty liver, there's the non-alcoholic fatty liver. It comes from sugar and carbs. Fat will burn second. Again, for energy, for your essential fatty acids. It helps with vitamin absorption. It helps balance hormones. And again, if you eat too much fat, that is going to be stored in your fat cells. Let me go through the protein one, and then we can answer questions if you have any on this. Then you have your protein, which burns last. It's for energy. It's also for muscle building, your essential amino acids. And I really recommend that you eat protein every single time you eat, especially to moms. Like I work with some moms and they're like, "Oh my gosh, my kid just snacks all day long." Well, tell me what they're snacking on. Well, I have a bucket of fruit and they can have it anytime they want to. And they're always, I'm hungry. So if a kid eats an orange or if a kid eats banana, remember that's your carbs, right? So that is going to burn. That's real quick energy. Think of it like a fire, like you're trying to build a fire. The kindling, the little ones that are going to burn real fast are your carbs. And then you've got your protein and your fat that are like the logs that are going to burn a little bit slower. So give your kid or yourself too, that orange, but then also maybe a piece of beef jerky or, a little handful of nuts, some kind of a protein and fat to help slow that down. So the orange will burn, but then they have those other items too to kind of slow them down a little bit. Okay, I know that was a lot. And it can be overwhelming. Tell me what questions, if y'all have any questions.
Well, like you just said, we tend to think that just an orange is just very healthy. And so we concentrate on that. But what you're saying is that we need to combine with something else to make it healthy, not just on its own.
Exactly. And the orange is very healthy, but it's burning quickly, and that's why the hunger turns around quickly on that as well. So, okay, the problem with unbalanced macros, your body never achieves metabolic flexibility and can switch to fat for fuel. So I don't know if you've heard that term thrown around before, but you were born with metabolic flexibility. Your body was born to use energy from fat, from carbs, from protein. And we can move, our body can move in and out of it. But what has happened is we've lost that ability because, you know, how many years were we told, eat 5 or 6 small meals a day, right, to keep your metabolism burning? That really has been debunked, and it really is the very wrong thing to do to your body, because your body is doing nothing but digesting food all day long, and it doesn't have time to switch to anything else. You give it the carbs, it's going to burn the carbs. You give it more carbs, it's going to burn the carbs. You give it more carbs, it's going to burn the carbs, and it never switched to burning fat. And that fat can be fat that you input into your body through eating, or it can be fat on your body, right? Your body can use that fat on your body that is stored for energy. So keep that in mind. Carbs cause cravings. It'll be difficult to achieve an optimal blood what is that? My thing isn't blinking it. Body composition, but that doesn't, is that right? Okay, yeah. It'll be difficult to achieve an optimal body composition, which is the goal, right? You want your body to be balanced and not have too much fat, not have be too, you know, too thin. You want a nice balanced one. And then you will lack energy. I'm doing a workshop for another group, and it's all about reclaiming their energy. And it really is the same rules apply, but this is a big one. If you don't have that metabolic flexibility, if you don't have that optimal composition, it's going to be hard for you to have energy. You know, you're going to get that afternoon crash, or you're going to, you know, wake up tired, etc. So think about that one too. These are big, you know, these are big things that are going to change your life once you get that sugar out of you. Can lead to insulin resistance, and we will talk a little bit more about this here in a minute as well. Oh, here it is right here. So this is the insulin resistance loop. You want your body to be insulin sensitive. So what happens when you're insulin resistant? You feel hangry. I don't know if you've heard that term before, but it's basically when you are hungry, but you get angry, or you get irritable about it. So you get hangry and you reach for something to eat, right? And typically a lot of us are reaching for carbs. This is people who are insulin resistant. You eat the carbs, and carbs, remember, are sugar. Your body turns carbs into sugar. So you eat those carbs, your body secretes insulin, right, to handle that sugar. And then your cells resist the insulin because they're already full and they don't have anywhere else. They don't have anywhere else to put it. Then that sugar stores as fat. Your cells are not fed because that does not feed your cells. Your cells need nutrition, minerals, vitamins, and then you're hungry again, right? So you're in this big loop that you can't get out of, and people are like, oh my gosh, I don't understand why I'm hungry all the time. I can't eat. Like I also teach intermittent fasting, and some people are, you know, when I first start working, they're like, there's no way I can wait till 11 to break my fast. Well, it's because you've got this carb, this loop that you're in. You're eating too many carbs. So we can talk about that in a bit too if you'll have questions on that one. All right, so that's step number 1, balancing your macros. Step number 2 is to become a label detective. Some of this stuff is very, very sneaky. What's input, the number 1 food additive in America is sugar. So it's in everything. It's in ketchup, it's in marinara sauce, it's in yogurt, it's in everything. So you have to really look for what you're being careful about, you know, what you're buying, or better yet, eat whole food with no labels, right? So what would be a whole food dinner? A roasted chicken, some roasted Brussels sprouts, and a baked sweet potato, right? That's real whole food with no labels on it. And it's delicious. Some people may not think it sounds delicious, but you can find real whole foods that you like, and your taste buds are going to change as you go through this. Please trust me on that. Sugars everywhere. Be diligent. And remember, carbs turn to sugar. Your body uses for energy, but too much stores as fat once your body can't use it anymore.
And
okay.
Nanette,
yep.
Linda has a question. She's asking, is it all about moderation and not necessarily about depriving oneself of some foods?
Yes, it is. And I'm going to go through here in a few minutes, like some swaps that you can make that people aren't going to even notice. When I was talking about that chocolate cake that I had at my niece's birthday party. I can make a chocolate cake that's not going to have that same sugar impact on you, and it is delicious. This is how I cook at my house, and if people come over, they know this, and nobody complains about what I feed them, right? Because it's still really, really delicious and satisfying. Does that answer the question?
Yes.
Okay, so good luck keeping up, right, with all the different names of sugar. As soon as you figure out, like high fructose corn syrup is a good one, because we used to put that in well, we still put that in everything, but people started kind of learning that that's a bad thing, so people started looking for it, and then they changed the names to other things, caramel, dextrose, castro sugar. So you have to be very careful. This is an older slide. It says 59 different names. I think there's 70 something now. So if here's a little tip: if you don't know what's in something that you're buying, if it's a packaged kind of food, you can go to ewg.org. That's the Environmental Working Group.org, and you can put in they have a search bar where you can put it in, and it gives you a scale of 1 to 10 how bad it is for you or how good it is for you. And sometimes that'll explain to you what it is, because there's a lot of things that I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what that is, so I'm not buying it. All right. Step 3 is to stay hydrated. This is a big one. I've always thought that you're supposed to eat or drink half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you drink 75 ounces. But there's a calculator also in that calculator.net that you can input. You can figure out your hydration. Mine, I just recently redid, is 112 ounces. It's a lot. And it's hard, but I keep beverages. I got my water. I've got my herbal tea. I try to keep beverages, all over, just so that I'm always. I drink as much as I possibly can. Dehydration raises your cortisol, which causes stress. Again, cortisol is one of those things. Cortisol is good unless you have too much of it, and then it raises stress, and it causes anxiety eating, and it just can lead to other things as well. Drink a big glass of water as soon as you wake up. I keep a glass of water by my bed, so when I wake up, I drink it. First thing we do, my husband and I both will drink a hydration drink, and I'll explain that to you here in a second as well. Keep water at your desk, in your car, by your bed. Track if necessary. My daughter, we've been working with her, and trying to think of what her app is. She uses, it's called Waterlogged. It's a free app. And she just goes in there, and every time she drinks 8 ounces of water, puts it in, and I think it reminds her to drink it as well. And that's helped her. So that might be a helpful way to track it. Homemade electrolyte drink. This is my homemade electrolyte drink. And I don't know, Nomi, maybe you can put this on the website, or you can send it to whoever, but I'll leave it here for a second so you can take a picture of it. But this is, Gatorade, even Pedialyte. I don't recommend any of those for hydration because they just have too much additives in them. This is something that you can make, and it's really good. The kids will love it. Your friends will love it. Basically, it's just a teaspoon of Soleil water in 2 cups of water. The honey, I don't put in mine. I do that for the kids, but my husband and I don't do it for ours. So we just do the Soleil water and water and some citrus, like lemon or lime. Usually I do oranges for the kids, usually for us, whatever I happen to have. And I don't even chill it. We just make it and drink it. So what is Soleil water? I should have brought that up to show it to you. Soleil water basically is water that's saturated with sea salt. And I know a lot of people, I was trying to tell my aunt this the other day, and she goes, oh my God, I tried not to eat salt because it might, it's bad for me, the sodium. And I get that, but you're talking table salt, you're talking Morton salt. But if you get a good Himalayan sea salt, it's not only salt, it's got a ton of minerals in it. And so what you're doing is you're getting a mason jar. I get a mason jar just like this one. I fill it up maybe about here with either Himalayan sea salt, or real salt is another brand, or Celtic salt. And then I fill it up with water. Leave a little bit of room so that you can shake it up, put a lid on it, shake it up, and then let it sit on your counter overnight. The next morning, if you have like a little layer of salt on the bottom, that means that your water is saturated and you can use it. So shake it up, get your teaspoon out of it. If it's all gone, that means you didn't put enough salt. So you can just add it. It's just kind of a working thing. I have this jar, and I'm always putting water in or salt in, just to kind of keep it moving so that we always have it.
Nanette.
So I recommend that. Yes, ma'am.
Is this the water you take that you keep next to your bed right as you wake up, or is this in addition to that?
It's an addition. I'll drink the one by my bed, and then I'll go do my Soleil water. And so
Okay.
that's already, this mason jar is 1.5 cups. So I have one, by my bed, and then I have one of Soleil water. So that's 3 cups of water first thing in the morning before really anything even gets going. And that way because you wake up dehydrated, right? Because you haven't had anything to drink all night. And this gets your body, okay, we're good. We got water coming in, we got minerals coming in, and it just kind of helps get you going.
Okay.
Okay. All right, step number 4 is to get a good night's sleep. And, another one that's, I've had my own struggles with, the average person needs 7 to 9 hours. Everybody's going to be different, but, I talk to people sometimes, they go, all I need is 5 hours. There are people out there who only need 5 hours, but I'm telling you, it's rare, and they're probably not getting enough sleep. For me, 8 hours is my sweet spot. I usually get between 7 and 8, but I always feel better with 8. Lack of sleep causes insulin and leptin resistance. Leptin is the hormone that decreases your appetite. It also raises cortisol, which is your stress hormone, and it spikes ghrelin, which increases your appetite. So you're going to be hungrier when you don't sleep, right? Because you've got your leptin going down, you've got your ghrelin going up, and it again is going to cause an imbalance. So getting that sleep is really paramount. I don't know if I have, and lack of sleep leads to weight gain. So how do you sleep? I recommend, that you make your house a little bit cooler. We always turn our air down so it's cooler in the house. If you can, turn off your internet. If you've heard of blue blocking glasses, that's a good way because what happens when the sun rises, on the spectrum of light, it's higher in the blue light because that's telling your body it's time to wake up. And as the day progresses, the spectrum starts switching more to the red light. So think, sunsets and fires and candles. Those are cues to your body that it's time to go to sleep, because we were adapted to rise and fall with the sun, right? And we've lost connection with that because we stay up late, we watch TV, we've got artificial lights around us all the time. And so it kind of messes that up. So get the glasses. If you're on your computer a lot, like Nomi, I think you probably are, you can put, you might want to write this down, F.LUX. It's an app you can put on your computers, on your phones, and what that does is it takes the blue light out of your laptop, so that if you're working late, it's not affecting that balance of light that you're getting into your eyeballs. I hope I'm not getting too scientific here, but those are things that'll help you get a better night's sleep.
I have a question.
Okay.
I've been taking like 5 milligrams of melatonin before when I'm getting ready to go to bed. Is that okay? Or because I hear like different things about melatonin, some good, some bad. So I don't know what to believe. What do you think?
I think that 5 is pretty high. I take 1.5 when I do.
Okay.
I think 5 is high, and I try not to do it every night. For me, full moons, which we have going on right now, I cannot sleep for like 3 or 4 days. I don't know why it affects me so much. So I definitely take it, during, like I took it last night. So I just take like 1.5, maybe 2 milligrams.
Okay.
And I don't really know. That would be something maybe to ask your doctor or your practitioner. I don't know about like if you take it every night, because people are like, yeah, well, it's natural, your body produces it. Yeah, but it's not melatonin that you're producing. And I have heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I have heard that it downregulates your body's ability to make it. So I would be careful taking so much and so often. But again, I would talk to, a professional maybe about that. Magnesium, making sure your magnesium levels are optimized is also a good thing for helping you sleep. All right, now 5, manage your stress. Who's under stress right now? Oh my goodness. Again, stress is healthy. It saves our lives sometimes, but too much is not. It increases your cortisol, which again, healthy, not too much. Breath work is a great way to manage your stress, and you can look all these up on the internet. just different ways to breathe, to settle your body down. So your central nervous system, you've got a rest, right? Rest and digest, and then you side, and then you also have a fight, flight, or freeze side, right? And when you're under stress, your body thinks, oh my gosh, you know, this saber-toothed tiger is chasing me, because this is how we've evolved, right, over so many years. So your body thinks, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. So it shuts everything down. It shuts down digestion. It shuts down healing. It shuts down, you know, everything that your body's trying to do on a daily basis, because it thinks I need to be ready to run and save myself. If you do this breath work, it calms your central nervous system down, and it says, okay, everything's okay. I'm okay. I can go back to what I was doing, because you can't deep, slow breathe when you're under attack, right? You catch your breath, you get into, you know, fight or flight. So these are some, you know, some good suggestions for that. Box breath is just basically, wherever you're comfortable, but like, I think I usually do 5, like deep breath in for 5 seconds, hold 5 seconds, deep breath or slow breath out for 5 seconds, and then hold for 5 seconds. So that's your box, 5, 5, 5, 5. There's the 4, 7, 8 breath, which is 4 in, hold 7, 8 out. And then there's the alternate nostril breath, which is the one that I go to when I am under some serious stress. This is the one that really seems to calm me down. So basically you're closing off one nostril, breathing in, and then closing off the other one, out, in, then switch, out, in. And again, all this, you just look this up on the internet. You'll find information about all of this. So that's a good one. At least it works for me to settle me down. And there's, you know, yoga, meditation, walking in nature. You know, walking on a treadmill is fine because you're moving your body, but walking in nature is better, because that's where our disconnect is. We've lost our connection with nature and circadian rhythms and all this, and it just kind of helps you bring that back a little bit. Another thing I didn't talk about with sleep a second ago was a good night's sleep starts first thing in the morning. If you can get outside first thing in the morning with that fresh sunlight, without sunglasses on, and let that sun, you know, get into your eyes and your skin and your body, it kind of sets you up. It resets your circadian rhythm to set you up for a good night's sleep. This is a good thing to do also when you're traveling and crossing time zones. Let's say you're going to Hawaii, and I think it's a 5-hour different time zone from where I am, and you only got 4 hours of sleep. I still say, get up, get outside, get that fresh morning sun, and it's going to help reset you. If you need to take a nap later, take a nap later, but it'll just help you get a good night's sleep once you get there. And then the 6th step is exercise. And, you know, if exercise is not your thing, there's ways that you can move your body to help. And here are some of my suggestions. Move your body every single day. If, you know, if you have an iPhone, there's, you know, there's a heart, I think it's a heart app that tells you how many steps you're moving. You know, the goal supposedly is 10,000. I don't usually make it to 10,000, but I do try to walk as much as I can. Move your body, change your position. If you sit at a desk all day, like right now, I'm standing up at my desk. I can sit down, I can stand up, I can sit on the floor, you know, crisscross applesauce, to move your body into different positions so that you're not just in the same position all the time, because that's when your body, you know, you lose the ability. You're sitting down all day, you lose the, you know, flexibility in your hamstrings, and, you know, it can change your physiology. Strength training 2 times per week, 10 to 30 minutes. That's really not very much. It's, you know, if you do it twice for 10 minutes, that's 20 minutes a week. That's not very much. And what do I mean by strength training? It can be just your body weight can be the strength training, right? You can do squats, push-ups, planks, pull-ups. If you can't do push-ups, you can lean against the wall and do, you know, put your feet out a little bit and do. And that's strength training. Even every little bit counts. And then as your muscles strengthen, you're going to be able to do more and more. And then maybe you can progress to the floor on your knees and do them that way. But I really highly encourage you to use your muscles too. HIIT once a week. I'm sure you've heard of high intensity interval training. You know, I like to do sprints. Not everybody can do sprints. You can basically, you're just trying to get your heart rate up, right? So you can, if you have a hill by your house, you can just walk up the hill quickly, or you could swim or cycle or spin, anything to get your heart rate up. And there's apps that you can get to track this, because you're only looking for quick high intensity interval training. So I have an app on my phone when I go out and do my sprints, and I turn it on and it tells me to go for 20 seconds and it tells me to stop for 40 seconds. And so you get your heart rate up for 20 seconds, settle down for 40, and then you do it again. And maybe you can only do 3 or 4 cycles. Maybe you can only do 1 cycle. Do your 1 cycle, and then in a week or so, try to do 2 cycles, and then you build up. 10 is probably all you need. So, you can do that workout in 10 minutes. It's very quick workout. So, and that's only once a week. So if you walk it, try to move your body every single day, do some strength training, a little bit of HIIT. That's your workout. That's a good, healthy body. That's how our bodies grew, right? Because we weren't really in gyms all the time, and we weren't, lifting weights and doing all this big stuff. You were moving, maybe you were moving rocks and you were climbing things and you were doing that kind of stuff. So try to think about it that way. How can you incorporate natural movement into your day? And then play. Maybe you play with your kids. I have a great nephew, and I bought this deck of cards for him. It's called Animal Moves, and we pick a card out, and then you have to do things. You have to do what it is, like jump like a frog or walk like a duck. I couldn't walk like a duck. I need to work on that. But I mean, that was really hard. But there's things you can do. You got your bear crawl and those kinds of things. It's fun, and it's exercise, and the kids are getting exercise, and they don't even know it. It's just fun, and they think that you're funny trying to do what they're doing. Okay. So what questions do you have on those steps? Or I can just keep moving too. Okay, so hi. Do you have a question? Okay, so now what? No more sugar ever? I think that was, kind of going back to Linda's question. I'm not telling you no more sugar ever. The problem is overconsumption of sugar. So that's where we need to be careful. So it's about taking back control and you choosing when you want that sugar and you being able to handle it and not being like, oh my God, where's my candy? I know people who have candy stuffed in their desks and little hiding places. And I do that with my dark chocolate because I don't want everybody eating my dark chocolate, but I have it when I want it and I don't have to have it. It's okay to celebrate, right? It was my niece's birthday. I wasn't not going to have a piece of cake with her. So, just plan that around your day. Make intentional choices. Introduce healthier alternatives. Okay, these are some healthier alternatives. Coconut sugar. If you've never had coconut sugar, a good way to start is to replace your brown sugar with this. It's delicious and it has a much more complex taste to it. It's got minerals in it. I love coconut sugar. Honey is another good one. Maple syrup. Monk fruit is another one. Where I caution you on the monk fruit, though, is a lot of times, like even the one that we get here, I think at HEB, if you look at the ingredients, it has monk fruit in it, but it also has erythritol and maybe some other stuff in it. Erythritol is a natural sugar, but it's a sugar alcohol, and it does cause upset on some people's stomachs, so be careful with that one. Stevia. I have a friend here in town who has a stevia plant, and she just goes and picks off leaves and puts it in her tea, and it's so sweet. And it's just a natural sugar. And then you've got your dark chocolate is a better choice. You're looking at probably a minimum of 70% on your dark chocolate. And then dates are great. My daughter makes these protein bars, and she puts medjool dates in the food processor and blends them up, and it makes it so sweet. Plus it makes that bar stick together. And then fruit. And I'm telling you, to keep talking about oranges for some reason, but oranges or apples, after you get the sugar, you've been off of sugar for even just a week, that apple and that orange is going to taste so unbelievably sweet. You're not going to believe it. For real. Your taste buds are going to change. Here's a little statistic for you that you may not know, because I was shocked when I heard this, but you know how your body turns over, your skin, your organs, everything turns over a certain amount of time. Your taste buds turn over every 12 to 13 days. It doesn't mean you're going to love broccoli tomorrow if you hate it, but it does mean that when you quit eating that sugar, your taste buds are going to be more receptive to it, and they're going to be literally blown away by how sweet things are. So when you beat the addiction, yay, right? Ding, ding, ding. It's going to make you feel so much better and so much more in control. So you'll feel better. Your taste buds are going to wake up. Your body composition will start changing. Your performance will improve. Metabolic flexibility will improve. Your blood sugar will be controlled, and your cravings. So that's all of the benefits that you get from getting your sugar under control. One thing I didn't mention on that list of the honey and all that of alternate sugars, there's still sugar. So don't switch from an addict, to processed sugar to an addict to these others, to coconut sugar, but there's certainly a better choice than cane sugar or high fructose corn syrup or any of those. I have if you go to my website on yourprimallife.com, there's a free kitchen purge and restock guide that I offer, and it puts you on my mailing list, but I won't spam you, and I blog every couple of weeks, but I try to be very thoughtful about the content that I send out. But it'll give you a shopping list. It'll tell you like what you need to get out of your kitchen, and this is not just talking about sugar. This is talking about the industrial seed oils that are so bad for you. There's meat, dairy. It talks about what you should have in your kitchen, what you need to get out, what you can have. And so feel free to get that. And I'm accessible. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I'm happy to answer questions however I can. So Q&A, I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all have, or tell me what you think, or can you do this, or how can I support you?
What was that ratio for making the soul water?
Let me go back to that.
Of the Himalayan salt to the water.
I just fill the mason jar. There it goes. I just fill the mason jar 1/4 full with the salt, and like I just use like a mason jar like this. So I fill it maybe about 1/4 full with the salt, and then the rest of the way I fill up with water, and then just let it sit overnight and just see, if you need to add more. If you have too much, no harm, no foul, right? You can just add water to it as it starts to go down. So it's not it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not a scientific thing. So, and the goal is just to get some of those minerals in you.
And another question is, different crackers like Triscuits and that kind of thing, they can kind of be addictive too, can't they?
They can.
And
Because how we talked about carbs, your body turns those into sugar to burn them as fuel. So yes, it is. And yeah, for sure. I personally don't eat gluten because I think, it's really hard on your gut. And so I'll eat like gluten-free crackers, but again, it's still, so it's rice flour, or what's the garbanzo flour? I forget, but anyway, so it's just a different, yes, it's a different, so it's a different kind of carb, but it still is a carb. So when you're doing those Triscuits, just make sure you're putting some meat on it, or some, nut butter, or, some kind of protein on it. So when that carb burns, you still got a little slower burning fuel to go with it.
Okay. And what do you think, like the almond butter and that kind of? I
love almond butter. Almond butter. I don't know if you've ever heard of Nutso, Nuttzo. That's a really good one. My kids love it, which is shocking, but it's got chia seeds and sesame. It's got like all these seeds, and so you'd have to like the crunchy kind. It's got all this other stuff in it. So there's protein and fat and all kinds of good stuff in that. But yeah, almond butter. You can make butter. I would stay probably away from the Nutella.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of added ingredients in that, but you can make butter so easily. If you have a food processor, just put whatever nuts you have in it. Almonds, walnuts, macadamia nuts are really good ones. So yeah, I do avoid peanut butter because peanuts aren't a nut; they're a legume. So that's another thought. But yeah, almond butter is perfectly good. Just look at the ingredients and see, and just make sure the only ingredient that should be in there is almonds.
Okay.
And a lot of them are going to have sugar and oil and other stuff in them. So just be careful with that. It's going to cost you more, but it's going to be better for you. And you may eat less.
Thank
Nanette.
you.
Diane. Hi, Diane. She's got a question. She
Okay.
says, I am not addicted to sweet. In fact, I don't like it. However, I am addicted to the taste of sugar, plain sugar. Any
Oh,
ideas?
interesting. I wonder if you could substitute, like when you have that craving, like if you could substitute like a teaspoon of honey instead to satisfy that. If you can stop doing it for a week, Diane, I think asked the question, if you can stop doing that for a week, it'll be hard, but that's really all it takes is to get the sugar out of your life for a week and then substitute these other better forms for you. But I would maybe try a teaspoon of honey instead. They say honey can also help you sleep. That and there's honey is obviously so good for you, not in abundance, but if you had like a little teaspoon or something, that might work for you. I told y'all 30 minutes. My goodness, I got long-winded, didn't I?
And I have a question about sugar substitutes that we can buy at the store.
Okay.
What do you think about those?
Like, for example, what?
Those little packets that like even at the restaurants you can get, instead of sugar, you can use the little pink packets. I don't know what they're called.
No, I would not eat any of that. I would not eat any kind of, where's that one that's got the list of honey and all that in there? I would not eat any of that, Nomi. There's chemicals in there, and a non-food thing that you're putting into your body, your body doesn't know what to do with it. So you know what it does with it? It hides it. It hides it in your fat cells. I would not do any kind of artificial sweetener at all. I'd rather you do cane sugar than that for sure.
Okay.
Even though, but if you can switch to some of these other ones, if I can find them in here, one of these moments, that would be certainly better for you.
Okay. Linda was asking that question as well. So.
Okay. Here you go. These are the alternatives that I recommend because they're natural and they don't have chemicals in them. I mean, you need to make sure that you know what you're buying. Like when you buy maple syrup, you can buy crappy maple syrup, which what you want is pure maple syrup. They have it at our HEB here in town, and it's a jug about this big. And I think it's like $15, so it's not cheap, but it'll last you a long time because it's so sweet. And then there's stevia, dark chocolate, dates. Dates are really good to blend into things. But I would certainly avoid all artificial sweeteners.
What about Truvia? Truvia.
I'd have to look at the label. I think Truvia has stevia in it, right?
Yes.
Which is fine, but I don't know what else is in it. I'd have to look at that one.
Okay, there are a few other things, I think.
Yeah. So I would have to look at that. And if you're not sure what it is, you can, put it into that ewg.org that I mentioned, and it'll tell you what it is and where it is on that scale of 1 to 10 on healthy or not.
Erythritol.
Erythritol is natural, and I don't have a problem with erythritol unless you've got a compromised gut, because it's going to be hard. It's hard on some people's gut, and it gives them the runs. There was a period in time when my daughter we were trying to get her gut. She had a leaky gut situation going on. We were trying to get her gut healthy, and we didn't do any kind of erythritol or anything like that because it can be hard on the gut.
Thank you.
Yes, my pleasure. I'm glad you'll have questions. That's great. Well, Naomi, what do you think? Is that time to close it down?
Yes. If does anybody else have questions?
Guess not.
Well,
Thank you.
Remember, I'll be uploading the video of this program to the library's YouTube channel, and so you can access it if you like. I can send you a link to that video as well. So you can send me an email, programs@wimberleylibrary.org. And thank you so much, Nanette.
Naomi, my pleasure. I'll send that recipe card as well to you.
Yes.
And then you can send that to them. That way you don't have to write it all down. But
okay.
Yeah, this was my pleasure. And however I can support you in the future, please just let me know.
Thank you so much, everybody.
you.
Bye. How many did you have?